Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down big ideas. Today we are diving into one of the most talked about, most controversial books out there, Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power.
Crush your enemy totally. Wow, and that's just one of the 48 laws from this notorious bestseller. It's exactly this kind of advice that has made the book a massive sensation, but also, as you can imagine, a huge source of debate.
So, that's the big question, right? Is this book actually dangerous? I mean, it's a question that has sparked heated arguments for over 20 years now. Some people call it a guide for being a phony psychopath, yet it's still a bestseller, and others praise it for just being brutally honest about how the world works.
All right, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at the rules themselves, then the backlash, then we'll ask if it's a tool or a weapon. After that, we'll get into the science of power, and finally, what this all means for you.
Okay, first up, the rules of power. What exactly are these rules that have caused so much trouble? Let's get to the core of what the book is actually saying. So the book's whole deal is that it's a no-holds-barred look at how power really operates. It's not trying to give you a moral compass, not at all. It's more of a frank, almost cold look at the strategies that some of history's most powerful people have used to get to the top.
And yeah, these laws can be pretty intense. We're talking about things like conceal your intentions, or my personal favorite, pose as a friend, work as a spy. It's all about being cunning, subtle, and let's be honest, often ruthless. The whole point is to keep your advantage by keeping other people guessing.
So, as you can probably guess, this kind of advice has kicked up a massive storm. For every fan who sees this as a roadmap to success, there's a critic who sees it as a recipe for absolute disaster. And this really is the heart of it. The critics basically say, hey, if you try to use these old-school Machiavellian tactics in today's world, you're not going to be some powerful mastermind. You're just going to end up isolated and looking like a manipulative jerk.
Okay, take this as a perfect example. Law number 2 says, never put too much trust in friends. But I mean, think about it. All the modern advice we get is the complete opposite. We're told our network is our net worth, that our friends and our allies are our greatest assets, not some liability we should be suspicious of.
And here's another one that just flies in the face of what we know today. Law 4 tells you to always say less than necessary. You know, be all mysterious and quiet. But actual psychological research shows the opposite. In many cases, talkativeness correlates with status. The people who speak up, the extroverts, are often the ones who emerge as leaders. So this all leads to a huge central question. What was this book really for? Was it meant to create manipulators or to arm the rest of us against them?
Well, if you ask the author, Robert Greene himself, he says his goal wasn't to write an instruction manual for the dark arts. He says the book is an exposé. He wanted to shine a light on these tactics so that regular people could recognize them and, more importantly, defend themselves against them.
And yet, despite what the author says, get this, the book is currently banned in the prison systems of 18 different states. 18! So at least some authorities see it as a genuinely dangerous tool for manipulation, especially in some of society's toughest environments.
Okay, so to get past this endless back and forth, is it good, is it evil? Let's try looking at it through a different lens. Let's look at the science of power.
Now, this is where things get really fascinating. This is a theory from 2 social psychologists, and it helps reframe the whole debate. It says, hey, forget good versus bad for a second. Let's just look at where power comes from. They identified 5 fundamental ways we influence each other. So the question isn't, is this tactic evil, but what type of power is actually being used here? And check this out. When you map Greene's laws onto this scientific framework, you see they aren't just evil. They're just strategies for using specific types of power. Crush your enemy is an extreme use of coercive power. Create a cult-like following is all about using referent power, which is just power that comes from charisma and admiration.
So you see, this model lets us analyze power way more neutrally. It's like a hammer. Is a hammer good or evil? Well, it depends, right? You can use it to build a house, or you can use it to smash a window. The tool itself is neutral. It's all about how it's wielded.
Okay, so we've been through the laws, the backlash, the science. So what's the big takeaway for you? How do you actually use this information in your day-to-day life? Well, the real value here might not be in following this book like a manual. Maybe it's better to see it as a mirror. It's a tool for defense, not just offense. It helps you see and understand the power dynamics that are happening all around you every single day. And once you can see the game, you can decide how or even if you want to play.
And that's really the crucial thing to remember. Power is a game that everyone is playing, whether they realize it or not. The only question is, how well do you understand the rules? Because knowing the rules, well, that's a kind of power all on its own.